There is a version of you that quit 6 months ago, and there is a version of you still waiting to be born. The only question that matters today is, which one are you going to feed? Somewhere right now, a man is lying on his bed at 2 in the afternoon, phone in hand, scrolling through the lives of people who kept going while he stopped. He's not lazy. He's not weak. He is grieving a version of himself he thought he'd become by now. And that grief has disguised itself as rest, as a break, as I'll start Monday. But Monday keeps coming, and he keeps missing it. If that sounds familiar, you are not broken. You are simply a person who got knocked down and mistook the fall for the finish line. Every serious person who has ever built something worth having has had a season exactly like this one. The difference between the ones who made it and the ones who didn't was never talent. It was never luck. It was whether they stood up one more time than they fell. Let me tell you about a man named Kagiso. Kagiso was 29 when his business folded. Not because he didn't work hard. He worked harder than almost anyone he knew. He opened before sunrise and closed long after the streetlights came on. But the market shifted. A partner betrayed him, and within 4 months, everything he had built over 3 years was gone. Not scaled back. Gone. The stock was sold at a loss. The shop shutters came down for the last time on a Friday evening, and he stood outside locking a door that no longer needed locking because there was nothing left inside to protect. For the next 8 months, Kagiso did not leave his room except to eat. His friends stopped calling because he stopped answering. His mother would knock softly and leave a plate of food outside his door, the way you leave food for someone you are afraid to look directly at. He told himself he was resting. He told himself he was thinking. But if he was honest, in the quiet hours of the night when the excuses fall away, he knew he was hiding. Hiding from the shame of having tried and failed in front of everyone who watched him start. Here is what nobody tells you about hitting rock bottom. It is silent. There is no dramatic music. No moment where the sky opens up and gives you a sign. There is only a Tuesday morning like any other, where you wake up and something inside you, some small and stubborn thing, refuses to accept that this is how the story ends. For Kagiso, that Tuesday came when his younger sister, 17 years old, sat outside his door and said only one sentence through the wood. I was going to ask you to teach me how to start a business, but I guess you don't know how anymore. She wasn't trying to hurt him. She was a child asking an honest question. But it landed like a blade, because some part of him understood she was right. The man she used to look up to had stopped believing in himself before anyone else had. He did not fix his life that day. But he opened the door, and he started doing one thing, badly, imperfectly, with shaking hands. He made a list. Not a business plan. Not a 5-year vision. Just a list of the smallest possible action he could take before the sun went down. Send one message. Fix one broken relationship. Clean one corner of a room that had become a monument to giving up. That is where every real comeback begins. Not with a grand plan, but with a single, unglamorous act of refusing to stay down. Here is the deep truth hiding underneath Kagiso's story and underneath yours. Failure is not evidence that you are not built for this. Failure is simply the price of admission for anyone who has ever attempted something worth attempting. The people you admire, the ones who seem to have it figured out, are not people who never fell. They are people who developed a shorter memory for defeat and a longer memory for purpose. Think of a fire that has burned down to almost nothing, just a bed of gray ash with a single ember glowing faintly underneath. To someone glancing at it from a distance, it looks dead. It looks finished. But anyone who has tended a fire knows that ember is not the end of the fire. It is the seed of the next one. All it needs is someone willing to kneel down, breathe on it gently, and add just enough fuel to let it catch again. Your setback is not proof the fire is out. It is proof you are down to the ember stage. And the ember stage is exactly where every strong fire has been before it roared back to life. The mistake most people make is waiting to feel motivated before they act. That is backwards. Motivation is not the cause of movement. Motivation is the result of it. You do not think your way into a comeback. You act your way into one small brick at a time until the momentum itself starts to feel like belief again. So here is what pulling your socks up actually looks like in practice, starting today. First, pick one area of your life you have been avoiding: your business, your body, your relationships, your finances, and take the smallest possible action in it within the next hour. Not tomorrow. Not after you feel ready. Within the hour. A phone call, an email, a single push-up. The size of the action does not matter. What matters is that you prove to yourself, in real time, that you are still someone who moves. Second, stop waiting for the version of the plan that feels safe. There is no safe version of starting again. There's only a decision to move forward with incomplete information, because clarity comes from motion, not from more thinking. Every person who rebuilt anything worth having did so while still afraid, still uncertain, still unsure if it would work. Third, protect your mornings like they are sacred, because they are. The first hour of your day sets the tone for every hour after it. Do not open your phone and hand your mind over to everyone else's opinions before you have given your own goals a single minute of attention. Whatever you feed first in the morning is what will run your entire day. Fourth, find one person to be accountable to, not for permission, but for consequence. Tell someone your one small action for the day, and tell them again tomorrow. Shame kept Kagiso silent for 8 months. A single honest conversation is often the fastest way to break that silence. Do these 4 things, not perfectly, but consistently, and within 30 days you will not recognize the person staring back at you in the mirror. Not because your circumstances will have transformed overnight, but because you will have remembered something you forgot in the quiet months of hiding, that you were always someone who gets back up. So here is what I want you to remember, long after this video ends. Nobody is coming to pull your socks up for you. No sign from the universe, no perfect moment, no sudden rush of confidence that arrives before you've earned it. There is only you, and the door in front of you, and the choice to open it, or to stay in the dark a little longer. The game did not end when you fell. The game ends only when you decide to stop showing up. So stand up, pull your socks up, and get back in the game, because somewhere out there, someone is waiting for the version of you that refused to quit.